of Your Army Now. Coming to you live from the NorCal studios in Sacramento, California, this is Your Army Now. Hey team, welcome back. Sergeant Major Nelson, Your Army Now. Hey, high five, big hand for Sergeant Bennett filling in yesterday, right? Hey, here's what I learned yesterday. I learned that I could do without San Francisco traffic. But for all of you out there who had well wishes for Mrs. Sergeant Major Nelson, she's just fine. And everything went well. So here's today. So yesterday, Sergeant Bennett had made mention about the split option training. Now, some of you out there may have heard this as the alternate training program is like the official title of this. So next week we are going to dedicate one of our shows, a couple segments of the show like we do, to the alternate training program, because there's been a bunch of questions about it. So good news. I'm going to look at my phone because I got to read a story here. This is just how awesome this is turning out to be. So funny story that yesterday, because some of you were sending your questions and your comments to me in Messenger on Facebook at my Facebook site. What I need you to do, team, is send it to the show site. Because if I delete all the junk off my phone, then I don't remember what you sent me. But this is a special shout out. It's just amazing how things happen. So I had a recruiter a number of years ago when I was station commander in Texarkana, Texas, named Sergeant Ashley. And he's since retired. Shout out to you, Trace. But he sent me an article from the newspaper. And his son, unbelievable, enlisted into the Army, Ryan Ashley. Isn't that unreal? So here's what makes that awesome. He had since retired, Sergeant Ashley, and he wanted, I remember him saying that he wanted to be the recruiter that put his, was able to be the one to put his son in, you know. But he retired beforehand. But the son made it in, his son made it in. Here's what's funny. When I was there as a station commander, I remember when he was this big. You know, he was young like my son, which, Trace, all that means is we're just getting old, dude. It's cool. But, yeah, good on him. Let's see. He said that, according to this article, he enlisted out of Little Rock, which is perfect, and as a 35 Quebec. So here's what's awesome about that. It's a cryptologic cyberspace intelligence collector analyst. That just sounds high speed to me. That just sounds something technical. So we know cyber is where it's at these days. And he got $26K in bonus. So that doesn't, that's not terrible. So awesome. Private Ashley, good luck to you, dude. Welcome to the team. See that, Brendan? Just good news that happens around. Man, I'm getting old. So we talked about split option. We talked about San Francisco traffic. So we got this day in history, right? So here it is. Chuck Yeager. He was born this month in 1923. Team, let me tell you, Chuck Yeager has nothing to do with Jägermeister. Although, let's see. He was making moonshine back when he was young, so maybe it was the root of Jägermeister. We don't know. No, I'm just kidding. So he enlisted in the Army Air Corps. Again, let me remind you, you may know them today as the Air Force, but they belong to us. He graduated high school in 1941, became an airplane mechanic, hated flying. Probably because he got sick when he was went up for the first time. Fought and flew all over Europe during World War II. You're still wondering who was Chuck Yeager. So this guy broke the sound barrier. First guy to break the sound barrier in an aircraft. So there's something to that. I don't know how fast that is, but it's got to be fast. So anyway, after World War II, Yeager was out here in California. And so here it is. The Army had developed a small bullet-shaped aircraft called the Bell X-1 and to challenge the sound barrier. And on October 14th of 1947, he became the first man to fly faster than the speed of sound. So he had a successful career in the Air Force, and so that's awesome. 1973, final active duty assignment was the Air Force Safety and Inspection Center, I guess commander at Norton Air Force Base in California, and retired on 1 March 1975, having flown more than 10,000 hours in 330 different types of aircraft. That's incredible. I can't fly one. So anyway, we got to go to the other side of on the other side of the commercials. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming, because we're going to show how we draw Army to gaming and maybe some flying. You're listening to Your Army Now.
When freedom is threatened around the world, when floodwaters rise and wildfires rage, wherever the fight, whoever the enemy, when America needs her best, she sends a soldier. Do you have what it takes? Find out at goarmy.com/warriors.
Hey team, welcome back. So we're back from commercial. So gaming. You've heard me talk about my son, I think. Can't remember. Seems like I've done 100 of these shows already. But so my son's a gamer, in addition to being an aspiring rock star. And I was wondering what kind of skills kind of translate between, playing video games and being in the Army. But then the more I think about it, right, this kid can watch like 20 screens at once, like somehow scanning everything, kind of like we scan the battlefield, things like that, kind of figure out what's going on. His dexterity is unbelievable because his fingers move so fast on these game pads. I don't even know what you call it, like a joystick. We used to use a joystick. I don't know what this thing is called. The controller. We'll just call it the controller. And his hand-eye coordination. And the other thing is, he's playing with kids from all over the place is what's happening. And whatever war game it is that they're playing, they got like their whole little squad. And so they are organizing a team. Like he is putting this squad together. And each of them is doing their thing through listening and controller stuff. It's nuts. But really, that's how it relates to what it is we do, right? As soldiers, listen, I haven't been on the battlefield, okay? But what I can tell you is in my time, I'll relate it like this, as a cop, okay? So when I needed some backup, because we were chasing a car all over the place, I would get on the radio, and one would be putting out spike strips, and one would be coming from this street and that street and the other street. All that had to be coordinated, right? And so we coordinated it all over the radio and end up catching the bad guy. So it's really that kind of same thing with the video games. They're fighting the war and coordinating all this stuff. And they can translate that into something in the Army. So, what does that? So, thinking about this, right? So it's not just the shooting the guns in the video games, but they got the aviation part, right? They got to fly the helicopters in to pick up the wounded guys on the video game. Again, draws me into Army aviation. People think about aviation, all they think about is the Air Force. Oh, I want to fly. Okay, and that's great. But a lot of people don't recognize that the Army has not only helicopters, We have fixed wing aircraft. You want to fly a drone, right? Be the next Amazon delivery guy with your drone. We fly drones, or control them, I guess. I don't know exactly how you do that. If you're going to fly helicopters, we need air traffic controllers to land those helicopters and aircraft on our Army installations or wherever they're setting up at. We can do that. And the good thing about it, one of the things that we don't talk enough about is all these different jobs that we have in the Army have credentialing opportunities, right? You get your credentials. So, like, I know our air traffic controller guys, they get like certified through the Federal Aviation Administration, right? The FAA. So you could transition out of the Army and potentially go work as an air traffic controller in, say, DFW or somewhere, which is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, for those of you who don't know, and kind of walk into the job because they already have the certification, having done it in the Army. Fantastic opportunity. Of course, you want to fly helicopters. We got them, right? You see all that stuff on the video games. Where do you think they came up with those great ideas for those helicopters on those video games? Probably from the Army, right? So we talk about Apaches. We talk about Blackhawks. Black Hawk helicopter. Just a nonsense story in the middle of this. So Blackhawks are made by Sikorsky Helicopter. And they have a factory. I don't know if it's their main factory, but Sikorsky Helicopter is in Stratford, Connecticut, the town over from where I grew up. And my uncle, great story, in I don't know, I was a little kid then. He got out of the Army as a aviation mechanic, and he worked on Blackhawks in the Army. And then when he got out of the Army, he went to work for Sikorsky's right there in Stratford, right next door. Again, we talk about credentialing. All I know is my uncle was loaded, right? He had a lot of money. And so as I understand it, his son ended up joining the Army, my cousin, Jay. What's up, Jay, if you're listening? But like his dad in like 1980 was making like $40 an hour as a helicopter mechanic there at Sikorsky's. I said, man, this is unreal. But he got that training in the Army. Team, listen, if aviation's your thing, we got a program called High School to Flight School. At least we did. I know you can still join with just high school. We're going to bring on an aviation guy, a chief warrant officer who works for USAREC in a future segment. In a future show, we're going to interview him, and he's going to walk us through that program. So if you want to fly and you think the Air Force is the way to do that, let me tell you, you can do that in the Army without the college degree. Now, would it help? Sure, but you can still do it in the Army. Anyway, so that's Army aviation. So we're going to go to break. Now, on the other side of the break, Sergeant Bennett, who, again, good job filling in yesterday, conducted an interview with Sergeant Gonzalez. He's a soldier from our Arden recruiting station. Special shout out to Arden and Florin because I was over there today. Hashtag for you, Sergeant Coombe, Arden and Florin recruiting stations. We'll see if you were watching. But he interviewed Sergeant Gonzalez from the Arden recruiting station about his experiences both in the Army and outside the Army, drill sergeant stuff, those things that he did. And that's coming up on the other side of the break, so enjoy that, and then I'll be back after that to answer your questions. This is Your Army Now.
Easy approach. Go, go, go. Go, go, go.
There are those who see the challenges facing the nation and say, send me. They fight for country. They fight for honor. They fight to win. Do you have what it takes? Find out at goarmy.com/warriors.
And we're back. Welcome back to This Is Your Army Now. My name is Sergeant First Class Bennett, and I have a very special guest with us today. This is Sergeant First Class Gonzalez. He is what I call a double badger, which means he was a drill sergeant and he's now a recruiter. And I have a lot of respect for you. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell me a little about yourself.
So I'm a Sacramento native. I'm from the area. I went to high school at Sakai, and when I graduated high school, I joined the Army back in 2005.
Okay, all right. And you know, a lot of things, you know, the message we want to get out to the people is that being a soldier doesn't necessarily mean that you're just, you know, a soldier and that's all you do. This people think that once you enlist in the Army, all you do is Army things.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I understand that you have a lot of background in different aspects, things that's not necessarily specific to the military. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the things that I like to do on my free time when I got off of work right now is I've been actually practicing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at Ralph Gracie Gym and off of Truxell here in Sacramento.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been really good. As soon as I get off work, I change, I go in there, I get some rolls in, I have a good time doing that, and I really like it. I really like it.
And do you use this as a kind of a release? Like what is it about martial arts that interests you?
Well, one of the things since I've left Joint Base Lewis McChord and I've been able to come back home to Sacramento is I don't get to do combatives like the Army Combatives program as often, and that was something that I really enjoyed in the Army. And so I found something that was like it, and I didn't have very many expectations, but then I went and did my first roll, and I actually caught one of the senior guys there in an Americana and put him in an arm bar. So it was pretty good. And you know, being able to learn that in the Army and then finding it apply over was pretty cool. So yeah.
So real quick, just explain to the people who don't know what role we say get into a role.
So when you're rolling with somebody, it means that you're sparring. So you're gonna go and actually grab the person and try to submit them or to suppress them and control their movement and their body.
Right. Okay. So now I see that, like I mentioned earlier, you were a drill sergeant. How does being a drill sergeant help you as a recruiter?
I think one of the things that's really nice about being a drill sergeant and coming into the recruiting realm is to be able to talk to people about what basic training is really about. You know, a lot of people see certain movies and they're like, yeah, they're going to be crazy and throwing things. And the truth is that's not what being a drill sergeant's about at all.
They think Full Metal Jacket.
Exactly. But that's not what it's about. So I'm able to try to fix some of those misconceptions about what it is to be in basic training.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. We have a segment on the show called Myths. You know, dispelling all the myths. So that's one of the things you're saying, that drill sergeant is not what you see in the movies. Or, you know, it's more. Like, what would you say if you had to dispel specifically a myth about being a drill sergeant? What would you say it is?
That the drill sergeant's just going to yell all the time. And that's something that doesn't happen. In fact, it's probably the least valuable way to teach anybody anything. In my experience as a drill sergeant, when I would sit down with somebody and be like, this is how you do a hospital corner, right here. I'm going to let this fly for the next 3 days. I'm going to let you try and I'm going to correct it. If you don't learn it in 3 days, well, then we're going to have a problem. But you had 3 days to learn. I mean, I got it. It's the first time ever doing a hospital corner on a bed, you know, folding it with that perfect line, allowing that person to learn how to do it, and without being so aggressive, then they learn it.
Right. So you're more nurturing than people may think.
More of a coach.
Coaching. Okay, that's a good word for it.
Yeah.
So also, what are some other things that you're doing? I understand that you're in college now.
Yeah. So I'm just about to finish my associate's degree. I've been able to go to school and really focus on getting my education, and the Army's definitely paid for it and allowed me to do it for free.
For free.
Exactly.
I hear that. So he's getting his associates, correct?
Yes.
And what?
General studies.
General studies, and Army's paying for it. He's able to still pursue what he likes to do, which is martial arts, and he's also in the Army. He's a recruiter. He's trained soldiers. He's creating soldiers. Like you're doing. What are some other things that you do? Give me some more background, because you're a very interesting soldier. I want to know more about.
So one of the things that was really good about me joining the Army was it allowed me to open up my perspective of the world. And when I came in the Army in 2005, I had this concept that we were just going to join. We're going to war. This was it. Iraq, Afghanistan, and I was ready.
Right.
And then I really realized that there was a lot more to the Army than just that, and that's the reason ultimately I've been in for 13 years now. My plan was to do 3 years and then, get out and go do something else. But in the 6 years, the first 6 years, I was able to see Germany, Bulgaria, Romania, France, Italy. I was able to go see the world. I mean, there's no other job where you get a 4-day weekend. It's Thursday. I wake up, I jump on a train, and at the end of the day, I'm rolling past the Roman Colosseum on a train, and I spend the weekend in Rome.
Wow.
And then come home. Right. And then go back to doing awesome things like jumping in a helicopter and flying over the Bavarian forest, shooting a machine gun.
Wow. So what was your MOS? What's your MOS?
I'm an 11 Charlie.
11 Charlie. And explain to the civilians out there what
So an 11 Charlie is an indirect fire infantryman, and that's where you have a mortar and it's a tube and you put a projectile in and it shoots out. And it can go, up to 7,200 meters, which is quite a few miles away.
Right. So you was talking about ATC off camera, and which is the event, NTC, National Training Center. And you said that your soldiers, because of the type of training that you've done with your soldiers, you were able to get some things accomplished. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the National Training Center is located in Southern California, and it's where you take your trucks and all your guys and you go out and you do a simulated battle. Right. And everybody's wearing like laser tag gear, your weapons are fitted with the laser tag gear, and there's all types of blanks and stuff, and they actually have like helicopters that are like doing aerial combat over you while you're actually doing your drills as well. So when I went there, I was able to take the training from being a drill sergeant and apply that to my soldiers, and we actually came out on top. We in fact did really well. We got accolades all the way up from the CG.
Impressive, brother. I love that. It's been a pleasure to have you on my show, or our show. And thank you for coming by, and
thank you.
I will look forward to seeing where you go from here.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to a commercial. When we get back, Sergeant Major will be continuing our show. This is Your Army Now.
DC approaching. Go.
There are those who see the challenges facing the nation and say, send me. They fight for country. They fight for honor. They fight to win. Do you have what it takes? Find out at goarmy.com/warriors.
All right, team, I can't even call it. They should control me a little bit better because I can just get rambling and talk about a whole bunch of nothing, which is a lot of something if you're paying attention. And then what happens is we run out of time for questions. So I promise I'll get better. I'm going to get a better clock. I need you to watch both tomorrow and every day from here on out. I need you to share, like with everybody you know. And if you're interested in something I talked about, check the links below because we're going to put the data up there for you. So I can't do this without the rest of the crew, right? That's Brendan and JB and Dylan and Mark. I'm Sergeant Major Nelson. This is Your Army Now. Drop the mic. I'm out.
Everyone starts from somewhere, but where you start doesn't have to be where you end.
There comes a time. There comes a time we have to make a decision. Let's go! Give no like gap. I ain't never gonna stop. I'ma change my life. Gave me a new clock. Business on my head. NCO I led. When you trying to be better, you gotta lead a mess. Only values I came for. No stopping I can do. Misperception the army life. I'ma show you how to win though. Education you gon' get. No doubt we stay fit. What's like need 10 boosts? Airborne we stay lit.
Flipping out like an acrobat. I'm flipping the script like flipping through pictures on Flickr. You wanna grow up? Start with the one in the mirror. You gotta step forward just to be bolder. There's more to a soldier than just taking orders. There's more to a soldier than just taking orders. It's not about motors. 1775, known as a takeover. Uniform paid for, electric bill paid for, water bill paid for, living quarters paid for. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, earn more. Don't be a hostage to college, paying a mortgage, honor, integrity, personal courage, eating up fear like a bowl full of porridge. I'm above all, supporting and serving, I'm soaring. Confidence is pouring. The army, king of the jungle. Roaring.
Giving all I got, I ain't never gonna stop. I'ma change my life, gave me a new clock. Business on my head, NCO I led. When you're trying to be better, you gotta lead them meds. Only values I came for, no stopping I can do. Misperception the army life, I'ma show you how to win though. Education you gon' get, no doubt we stay fit. What's like need 10 boosts, airborne we stay lit. 5 o'clock I'm gone, persistence zone. Fat you want me to stop, but I want that bone. Body want me to quit, I fall, I trip, I keep getting back up, cause I gotta have this. Hard words we came for, persistence is simple, blood sweat that's crucial, late night is mental, no rest the new quest, F4's the 5th set, I don't need no breaking this, army train I'm bringing sweat, giving all I got, I ain't never gonna stop, I'ma change my life, gave me a new clock, business on my head, NCO I led, when you're trying to be better, you gotta lead them meds. Only values I came for, no stopping I can do. Misperception the army life, I'ma show you how to win though. Education you gon' get, no doubt we stay fit. What's like need 10 boosts, airborne we stay lit.
You ever think we'll get this far?
Yeah, man, of course I did.
Hey, you in the Army?
Yeah, we're in the Army.
Oh, thanks for all you do.
Oh, appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, man. Hey, you ever think about serving yourself?
I've thought about it, but honestly, I already have a good job.
I got you. Hey, but let me show you something.
Okay.
Hey team, episode 3 of Your Army Now. Coming to you live from the NorCal studios in Sacramento, California, this is Your Army Now.